They say every time an SJW gets triggered, 1,000 voices cry out in laughter. Well, to be fair, there's a lot of crying going on recently, and there's literally no end to what triggers and makes these greasy, purple-haired, goofy weirdos cry. Good. Let the tears flow. It goes well with my cup of tea. Hit the like button and subscribe, gents. We're close to 70k. Now, Dave Chappelle is a genius. He got a bunch of trans activists to promote his work. That is one hell of a marketing strategy. Hats off to you, Bodie. People still say that America is becoming a South Park episode when in fact it already is an episode. Because woke meltdowns are the best meltdowns. They are Eric Cartman-esque. It really is like watching a kid throw a temper tantrum, because woke meltdowns are a serious contender for the most entertaining content on YouTube. I just can't stop giggling like a schoolgirl. But this is what happens when you let the government raise your kids. You get these people, because these lunatics make up the rules as they go along. And between Squid Game and Dave Chappelle's new special, I wonder if Netflix is trying to do some emergency rebranding. The irony is that Netflix is the wokest streaming service out of all of them. They spend so much time, money, and effort pandering, and it's still not enough. How many times do I have to teach you this lesson, you fucking donkey? Pandering is a fruitless endeavor. It is never going to satiate the mob, and I bet the CEO of Netflix is sweating trying to figure out which side of the fence to stand on, and it's obvious he chose money because Dave Chappelle brings in money. Your status, your crying means nothing when the moolah is on the line. What Netflix should have done was record this whole drama and release it as a comedy. And speaking of comedy and South Park, they said it best in reference to comedy. It's either everything is okay and acceptable to make fun of, or nothing is, plain and simple. And to sum up this whole drama, by the way, in one sentence, white Twitter is upset that black man speaks his mind. Because Dave Chappelle makes a special making fun of literally everyone, and the pretentious arseholes are like, how dare he make fun exclusively about us? And just like that, Dave Chappelle single-handedly destroyed the entire woke narrative. See, imagine being so thin-skinned that you throw an absolute fit over jokes, calling out the exact behavior you're now displaying with said outrage. Bravo! You walked right into that one, you outrage junkie. That was glorious. That was great to see. Good old Davey boy burn the intersectional weirdos on the internet, and it's almost like the SJW tribes don't like the taste of their own medicine. That's very interesting. And by the way, this is the same guy, Dave Chappelle, who has a leftist mindset and thoughts, and is more left than most other people, so this whole incident should show how bankrupt the left really is. But I do find it slightly funny how everything that is not woke and dumb is instantly considered right-wing. That tells you a lot about the left wing. And you know the world is fucked when the Joker is right about comedy. Comedy is subjective, and the fact that I need to reiterate that is just sad. But anyway, Dave Chappelle is laughing at this whole circus. That includes the idiots trying to cancel him, and the people that think that he's their boy now for his indictment of cancel culture. He doesn't give a about a political agenda. He's just sitting in his mansion with a beer in one hand and laughing maniacally as the internet blows up and Twitter loses it. As entertaining as this special was, it wasn't even his best work. The message, however, was brilliant. It might be his most insightful set. I would go as far as to say that Dave Chappelle's new special, coupled with the very predictable outrage that followed, makes it a certified hood classic. Now, there's a quote from one of the Mount Rushmore of comedians, and I think it goes something like this: the duty of the comedian is to find out where the line is drawn and cross it deliberately. If George Carlin was still alive, he'd have the best time of his life talking about cancel culture and how sensitive everyone is. Imagine if they had to deal with George fucking Carlin. Boy, their brains would implode. I mean, these sissies called Dave Chappelle special the most politically incorrect comedy show ever. That is absolutely hilarious. I mean, Andrew Dice Clay would say, oh, what are you, half a fuck? You know, when I really sat back and thought about it, it made me think that the Dave Chappelle special, The Closer, should be a litmus test on who we need to get rid of in our society. Anyone offended by this shouldn't be here. I know Dave Chappelle said that gender is real. You mean he acknowledges reality? The unmitigated goal! See, in the times of universal deceit, telling the truth becomes a revolutionary act. When the truth becomes taboo, then you're living a lie. And in the current timeline, free speech is only allowed as long as you don't offend the establishment. And if someone tells you that you can't criticize someone or a group, you should absolutely look into them. Odds are that they're hiding something and there's something there that needs to be criticized. Now let's get to the next part of the meltdown. Here's a quick guide to Rotten Tomatoes for the uninitiated. High critic score plus high audience score equals it's great. Low critic score plus high audience score, it's amazing. It gets the manic stamp of approval. Low critic score plus low audience score equals that it's generally accepted that it's bad. Boo! High critic score plus low audience score equals, well, it's probably the most disgusting thing you've ever seen. See, Rotten Tomatoes is ran by a former Disney executive. That should tell you all you need to know. And these changes to the scores were started during Ghostbusters 2016 and went full throttle by Captain Marvel, to appease Disney in some manner or another. Rotten Tomatoes has been compromised and corrupted by the House of Mouse's money. It's sad to say, but the critics nowadays are scoring on a political bias. They tanked, they cratered, they ruined their own credibility, not that they had any to begin with. It gets so tiring when content that's supposed to be meant for entertainment becomes about people's agendas constantly, no matter what kind of the content that might be. There's always a place for opinions, and that's fine, sure, but I'm just there for the content, not the war of people's ideals. And before I go, I was reminded when Netflix dropped its star rating system and replaced it with that useless thumbs up and thumbs down system, specifically because people were roasting the out of Amy Schumer's special. And this goes to a bigger and broader point. Both Netflix and Rotten Tomatoes, and likely other places too, have attempted to silence genuine audience reviews and reactions time and time again. And that is why YouTubers with bloody laptops are more important than these capitulating frauds. And hilariously, the new Rotten Tomatoes new system really only legitimizes low audience scores because they only count verified reviews, and we all know what verified means. Anyway, the best part of the Dave Chappelle special is when they cut to a different angle, and in the lower left corner of the screen there are two quite large white women, with one having enough makeup to get a free ride to clown college, and the other one has bright pink purple hair. Who would have thought they wouldn't like any jokes from Dave Chappelle? Stay in the comfort zone in your cave with your 30 cats and on that bombshell. Mannix out.